The wildest places on our planet have always been home to powerful leaders. But now, a new hero is rising.
Guess who is a martyr?
Fierce, smart, resilient, and female. We don't call her Mother Nature for nothing. All hail the Queens. In the jungles of Central America, the most impressive female leaders are also the smallest. Among the trillions of insects that live in this secret world, 2 tiny queens will stop at nothing to build their empires. One through great sacrifice, the other betrayal. This is Glossa, an orchid bee queen. A solitary female who has left her mother's nest to start a family of her own. Her metallic armor may be beautiful, but it hides Glossa's darker side.
Pretty little thing, but damn, she got an attitude.
The first thing any new ruler needs is someone to rule over. And this bee is well on her way. Inside a hollow trunk, she's built a cell from tree resin, ready to cradle her first egg. Having made it once, orchid bees can lay eggs for the rest of their lives and choose if they're male or female. Right now, Glossa wants a daughter. Before she can lay the egg, she needs to gather the food to feed it. And that means spending the next week collecting nectar and pollen. Glossa's body may be pretty, but it's also powerful. Her flight muscles contract more than 200 times a second, shaking pollen onto tiny hairs that cover her body. An impressive tongue pumps out regurgitated nectar, which she mixes with pollen. Glossa's making a high-energy paste baby food for bees. All this work is rather beneath the queen. But soon it will all be worth it. It's not the joy of motherhood that motivates her. It's something more sinister. The daughter she's carrying, she'll be a servant. And this queen will never have to work again. Glossa isn't the only one with plans for an empire. As night falls, another flying insect begins her bid for power. Atta 1, a leafcutter ant. Like the bee queen, she's also mated and is ready to lay eggs. For the males, the mating flight is their only purpose. And the effort is so great, it kills them, drawing in scavengers. Atta 1 will only be safe when she has dug herself a nest beneath the ground. But as she digs deeper, her wings get in the way. Atta 1 can't let them hold her back. So, she rips each wing from her body. A small price to pay to become a queen. And she won't need them where she's going. Atta 1 closes the tunnel behind her, sealing herself inside forever. While the lone ant queen is buried beneath the rainforest floor, high above, Glossa's hard work is nearly over. She brings the pollen and nectar back to her nest on her hind legs and scrapes them into the cell. Finally, she can lay the egg that will become her daughter. Now, it's a waiting game. It takes 2 months for the egg to develop. And while patience is a virtue, Being virtuous doesn't come naturally to a queen orchid bee. Glossa can't tell if her daughter is thriving. But inside the cell, we can see what Glosser can't. The lava gorges on the pollen and nectar. After a month, antennae, mouth parts, and wings appear. Then, the body's outer layer hardens into armor. Finally, she begins to take on the metallic color that makes her recognizably an orchid bee. Glossa can hardly wait. She'll have many young in her lifetime who will leave her when they hatch. But her firstborn daughter is special. She will never leave. Glossa won't allow it. But not all insect queens are so ruthless. Beneath the earth, Atta One sacrifices her own body to create her first brood of daughters. Sealed underground with nothing to eat, she's had to digest her wing muscles and part of her brain to make them. These first all-female workers are tiny. But now they're here. They can start to provide real food by farming. This is their crop, living fungus. The queen brought a tiny fragment of it with her. The new workers have fed it waste from the nest. And now they can start to harvest its tips for food. But for the fungus to keep on growing, it will need a better source of fuel. Tiny workers are no longer enough. The colony needs specialist foragers. These new sisters far outsize their nest mates and develop razor-sharp mandibles, naturally hardened with metal. Perfect for cutting leaves. They head out to work. In just 8 weeks, the queen has a workforce able to take on all the tasks of running the nest. All except one. Atta 1 is still the only ant that can be a mother. And the other ants depend on her to continue their line. Her final sacrifice is to be buried inside the fungus. Where she'll pump out eggs until the day she dies. The colony now works as a collective, and it's up to each and every worker to make it a success. This is Atta number 359. Although she is an individual, Atta 359 is not unique or special in any way. You could say she's a nobody. But that's exactly why her mother made her. Atta 359 is a forager, born to serve the colony by harvesting leaves. She heads out of her mother's nest for the very first time. The jungles of Central America are a dangerous place for a tiny ant. But Atta 359 follows the scent trail of the hundreds of sisters that have gone ahead of her. As long as she sticks to their path, she's safe. But with so many new distractions, it's easy for an inexperienced ant to wander off the trail. She searches for her sisters, but Atta is on her own. And she's walking into a trap. This is the deadly pit of an insect larva called an ant lion. If it gets a good grip on her abdomen, it will suck the fluid from her body. And with it, her life. To the ant colony, the death of a single forager is inconsequential. But despite being a nobody, Atta has the urge to live. And she will. At least for a little longer. While the Ant Queen's daughters are already out in the world, Glossa is waiting for hers to hatch. Finally, it's time. Her name is Dyla. Although she's newborn, Dyla is no baby. She emerges fully mature, physically indistinguishable from her mother, and crucially, fertile. Glossa intends to take full advantage. She can use her daughter to grow her family. So, Dyla's first task is to mate. Finding a male is no problem. There's plenty of b-boys buzzing about. Most of them, they just don't have what she's looking for. Now, this guy could be interesting. Dyla allows herself to be led away to watch a private dance. But it's not his moves that do it for Dyla. It's his smell. He's spent the last few weeks gathering and blending different scents from all over the forest. He stored them in pumped-up perfume pouches on his legs until the time comes to try them on a female. Now Dyla is here. It's finally his chance. With legs covered in his signature scent, he thrusts and hovers, propelling it behind him in a fine mist. Dyla has no nose, but she detects the waves of fragrance with her antenna. And she likes what she smells. Dyla mates only once in her life. The briefest of contact, and it's job done. Outer 359 is busy serving her mother and the colony, following her sisters to bring home the finest leaves. Leafcutter ants will travel more than 600 feet from the nest, and climb the height of 13 stories to find the most tender leaf tips. For Atta 359, just half an inch long, it's a feat of incredible strength and stamina. Leafcutter jaws are so powerful. Their muscles make up half the weight of their heads. The ants won't strip a tree bare. Instead, they harvest a little from each one, allowing it to regenerate between cutting. This is sustainable forestry. They may have brains the size of pinheads, but Atta and her sisters could teach us a thing or two about conservation. High in the canopy, the ants are exposed. They can't hear the thunder, but can sense the change in atmospheric pressure. It's time to head home. Atta 359 cuts a leaf fragment just the right size for her to carry on her own. But as she heaves it onto the carrying spikes on her back, a passenger climbs onto the leaf. It's a slightly bigger payload than she'd planned for, but Atta would never refuse a smaller sister in need of a ride. She and her hitchhiker face a race against time to get back to the nest. Atta 359 isn't the biggest or strongest worker. And with her passenger on board, she's not the fastest either, and is overtaken by quicker sisters. But she is very determined. She doesn't need to beat her sisters. She just needs to beat the weather. Atta 359 and her passenger are home and dry. But outside, hundreds of ants are still in trouble. Rain washes away the scent trails they need to find home, leaving them stranded. Wet leaves become too heavy to carry. and a direct hit could be deadly. While Rain puts the ant colony's work on hold, for the queen bee, the timing is perfect. The rains bring the jungle into bloom. Now Dyla can raid the flowers to feed her first brood. She has built cells alongside those of her mother's, filling them with nectar and pollen. While Glosser watches, Dyla lays her first egg and seals the chamber. Instinct tells Dyla this is a safe place for her own brood. But she's wrong. The queen waits patiently for her daughter to leave the cell unattended.
Something wicked this way comes. Something wicked this way comes.
Using her razor-sharp mandibles,
What's done cannot be.
Glosser unseals it, exposing Dyla's newly laid egg. Then she eats it.
Something wicked this way comes. Something wicked this way comes.
Glosser replaces her daughter's egg with one of her own. The queen can sit back and let Dyla tend to this egg, and dozens after, as her own. Glosser will let her daughter do all the dirty work. More than 2 years since she founded it, the leafcutter queen's nest has grown beyond all recognition. Hundreds of thousands of ants, 10 great walls of fungus, feeding it a constant supply of leaves. Buried inside, the queen finally has the colony she sacrificed so much for. But to secure her dynasty, she needs to go beyond producing workers. Laying new queens to start colonies of their own. To fuel this ambition, the colony needs more and more leaves. With her fellow foragers, Atta 359 works through the night. Under the glow of bioluminescent fungi. Unknown to the colony, a new neighbor has moved into this quiet corner of the forest. Army ants. 500,000 all-female warriors. Army ants don't need a nest. Instead, they link bodies, creating a protective shield around their queen. As the sun begins to rise, they go in search of food. Unlike the vegetarian leaf cutters, these ants are carnivores. Each ant is armed with a paralyzing sting and lethal pincer-like jaws to hunt. Catch and dismember even large insects. They can kill 30,000 a day. And while leaf cutters aren't prey, their nest is right in the army ant's path.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide.
As the raid sweeps overhead, darker-headed army ants venture into the nest and come face to face with the leaf cutter workers. Some take on the intruders, while others try and protect their precious young. But the raid keeps on coming. One-on-one, a leaf cutter is no match for an army ant. But adders know from their day job that when they work together, anything is possible.
So you wanna start a war in the age of icons? So you wanna be immortal? No, you wanna start a war?
Deep inside the fungus, the queen has still got their back. She's been laying a secret weapon. Hundreds of supersized adder warriors. And these giant jaws aren't for cutting leaves. Now the leaf cutters have the advantage. And the army ants turn and run. Among the survivors is Atta 359. She didn't do anything especially heroic, but now she has a role to play. Dead ants could contaminate the fungus and must be disposed of. At 2 years old and nearing the end of her own life, this job falls to her. Atta 359 carries the bodies of her fallen sisters to the graveyard chamber and casts them into the pit. This is vital work, and it's the last thing she'll ever do. Now she's contaminated, so will never be allowed to return to the inner nest and must work in the graveyard until she herself dies. But Atta 359's okay with that. She only ever existed to serve the colony. And her life's work will soon have been worth it. With the colony secure, the Queen has finally been able to produce a very special brood. Not only do these new offspring have wings, for the first time, they're not all females. Some are males. These flying ants will seek mates from other colonies, continuing the Queen's dynasty long into the future. Thousands will die, but those females that survive to make nests of their own, they will be queens. In the bee nest, the next generation's time has also come. Enslaved by her mother, Dyla has built new cells, which are used again and again by the queen. Dyla's had many brothers and sisters who have all left, but none of her own eggs have been allowed to develop. Her mother has eaten them all. Today, Dyla is alone, waiting for the queen to return from feeding. What she doesn't know is that Glossa isn't coming back. Dyla is no longer a servant. From now on, she's the queen. Her eggs won't be eaten. But her firstborn daughter had better watch out. The queen is dead. Long live the queen.